everyone, my name is Nur Azrin binti Muhammad Zaini with matric number 270374. In today's video, me and Siti Sophia Regina will be presenting our topic on plastic pollution. There are 4 main points or 4 main indicators that we would like to highlight in this video. First and foremost, of course, we talk about the definitions of plastic pollution. Second, we talk about the factors that lead to plastic pollution. Third, we talk about the effect of plastic pollution and the actions taken by international organizations and laws. And last but not least, we'll be focusing on the suggestions or the recommendations on how to prevent plastic pollution.
Times more plastic will be produced between now and the middle of the century than has been produced in all of history.
Alright, that is basically happened in our world today. So sad with the statement come out by the media about the new environment where it gives a huge impact not only towards animal habitat but it also gives a huge impact on human health and also the environment. It can also be mentioned here is that this plastic pollution was not happen today, but it already happens a long time ago since the 1950s, where the plastic has become a real success in the global production. What we can say that plastic is everywhere. Alright, let's focus on the first objective, which is about definition of plastic pollution. What is plastic pollution and what are we understand about plastic pollution? According to Solar Impulse Foundation, it stated that plastic pollution is caused by accumulation of plastic waste in the environment. It can also be categorized in primary plastic such as cigarette butts and bottle caps, or else can be seen as a secondary plastic resulting from degradations of primary ones. Yes, that is briefly definitions of plastic pollution. When there is a lot of plastic in the environment and it affects marine ecosystems and affect human health, we can consider as a plastic pollution. Okay, let's focus on the next point, which is factors that lead to plastic pollution. The main factors that lead to plastic pollution is food industry. Why food industry? This is because most food industry pack their food using plastic materials. Not to mention, almost third of the plastic that had been used or that had been applied by the food industries that pollutes the land and the ocean. Not only that, packaging companies prefer to choose plastic rather than alternative product. Why? Because of cheaper than other alternative products such as paper. On the other hand, this plastic also resists water and moisture, which can make sure that the food won't get spoiled. So what I can say that the food industry is the main factors that lead to plastic pollution.
Thank you, Azrin, for explaining the factor that leads to plastic pollution. I agree that plastic helps our lives to be more easier. Most people around the world cannot run away from using plastic. It's not a problem to use plastic, but the problem is when people do not know how to manage the plastic waste. This is because plastic pollution comes mainly from household waste, which is poorly recycled, dumped into the landfill or left in the nature. This waste is carried by the winds, pushed by the rains into the spheres, streams, river, and finally ocean. Natural disasters such as floods must be considered other causes of plastic pollution as well. For example, I live in the Pantai Timur of Malaysia. Pantai Timur is a wonderful state in Malaysia, but unfortunately, at the end of year like November or December, there are a monsoon wind changes that may lead to natural disaster like floods. After the flood has receded, I can see many plastic waste over there and there.
Okay, just now we only mentioned about the factors that lead to plastic pollution, but now we will be focusing on the effect of plastic pollution. The main effect of plastic pollution is the wildlife and habitats of animals. Toward this pollution, it may cause significant mortalities on marine mammals, turtles, and birds. A second direct effect must be ingestion, which concern about the entire food chain that may affect marine ecosystem. So, wildlife and habitats of animals is one of the main effects of plastic pollution. Others than wildlife and habitats of animal, the next effect is human health. Plastics have potentially harmful effects on human health. Exposures of toxic chemicals that comes from plastic itself can cause cancer, can cause birth defect, can cause impaired immunity, and other health problems. So, plastic pollution can affect human health.
It is really sad to know how plastic waste affect human beings, especially our health. We need to take care of our health by having exercise, practice a good diet, managing stress, and etc. But if we fail to take care of the cleanliness, like the lack of plastic waste management, it will also harm our health. So beside the effect of plastic pollution that Azri had mentioned before, we also cannot deny the breakdown of plastic waste in sea. According to the United Nations, more than 800 species worldwide are affected by marine ducting, and 80% of them comes from plastic pollution. The marine habitats such as fish, seabirds, sea turtles, and marine mammals can become drawn into plastic debris, leading to suffocation, starvation, and also drowning. In us, it's turned to seafood that we eat. When I went to the beach, I did not find any recycle bin. That is why the beach is very dirty, I think. So I believe that all the pollution of plastic waste comes from the sea through tides.
Hello everyone, so as you can see, I am at the beach now, and yeah, there is a lot of plastic waste here, and it's really sad to see that. So I think the local government should take legal action to this place. And surprisingly, there is no recycle bin here. Any recycle bin I can't find here, so that's why people throw their rubbish, especially plastic, near the.
Besides talking about definitions of plastic pollution, factors that lead to plastic pollution, the effect of plastic pollution, we must also focus on the actions that have been taken by international organizations or international environmental law on how to reduce plastic pollution. So let's take a look on what are the actions taken by international organizations and international environmental law on to reduce plastic pollution. There are many actions that have been taken by international organizations and international laws in preventing these plastic pollution problems. The first actions taken in solving this problem was in Canada, where Canada aims to ban single use of plastic by 2021. In June 2019, where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that year of 2021 will be the government actions to reduce plastic pollution. The announcement was made at the Cold Nature Reserve outside the Montreal. He said that the federal government will work with provinces and territories to introduce standards and targets for plastic manufacturers and retailers so they become more responsible for their plastic waste. He also mentions that he will always support efforts by Canada Minister of Environment to create a nationwide strategy for zero plastic waste. Therefore, these are the actions taken by Canada in preventing plastic pollution problems.
Wow, Canada and Conservative Aquarium Partnership took such excellent action. The issue of plastic pollution needs to be addressed internationally. Why? Plastic pollution is a widespread problem affecting the marine environment. It threatens ocean health, the health of marine species, food safety and quality, human health, coastal tourism, and contribute to the climate change. There are several conventions that govern the plastic pollution. Among them is Convention on the Prevention of Marine Pollution by Dumping Waste and Other Matter 1972. Commonly, it's called as a London Convention. It is an international agreement that controls pollution of the sea by dumping and to encourage a regional agreement to cooperate in the convention. Another convention is the Stockholm Convention on Persisting Organic Pollutants (POP), which is ratified in 2001, and it includes several POP that can harm human and other living things as well. So the next convention is the Basel Convention 1989, which is regulated for plastic waste. So the international agreement that have been mentioned before have contributed a lot of have facilitated the international convention, and actually it's really useful to prevent the plastic pollution and the marine itself.
We are at the end of this video, where we will be focusing on the suggestions or the recommendations on how to prevent plastic pollution. Aside from cleaning up the ocean, which is very significant method but not a long-term solution, the best recommendations to address this plastic pollution is applying 3R concept, which is reuse, reduce, and recycle. What are these 3R concepts? Let's take a look on the next slide. What mean by 3R? 3R means reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce. Reduce means changing our behavior and not using plastic bag when there is a better alternative to it, and only use plastic when it's strictly necessary. Reuse means reuse or use for different purposes. Before throwing the plastic item, it is important for us to consider on how they can be reused. Last but not least, of course, recycle. Plastic recycling consists of collecting plastic waste and reprocessing it into new products to reduce the amount of plastic in the waste stream.
Recycle, reduce, and reuse. So easy to say but hard to be implemented. So we need a proper education to give people some knowledge and awareness, especially regarding plastic pollution. Education is critical to be nurtured from the grassroots. We can start from school. Despite explaining the plastic pollution in the science class, maybe the teacher or the government should establish one subject only focusing on the environmental field. So it may encourage students or pupils to voice out about environmental issues such as climate change, atmosphere protection, and the other one, of course, plastic pollution, because they have the knowledge and also they have the awareness. Have you ever heard about Greta Thunberg? She often criticized world leaders for failing to take sufficient action to address the climate crisis. She is a Swedish environmental activist known for challenging world leaders to take immediate action for climate change mitigation. So Thunberg's activism began when she persuaded her parents to adopt lifestyle choice that reduced their carbon footprint. So we can see how education significantly impact the children and may shape their leadership styles to fight for the environmental protection. Another way we can practice is with our family members. Maybe we can go to the beach, pick up all the rubbish and put it in the right place. In conclusion, we have covered the factors that lead to plastic pollution, the effect of plastic pollution into the land and sea, action taken by international organizations as well as international environmental law to reduce the plastic pollution, and the last one, suggested methods to reduce plastic pollution as well. So I hope that the audience may get the knowledge and awareness about the plastic pollution. We live in one home called Earth. So it is our responsibility to take care of our home so that the future generation will grow happily without any harm from plastic pollution. So let's be the one who save the environmental.